Waves and texturizers.
Okay, this obviously everybody's been asking about what perm can we use, what wave, what texturizer. So
Okay,
lock in, my friends.
Let's talk about waves and texturizers because they are truly back.
Can Rich record you for this? Because I know you haven't, but I might actually use this section of about perms. Are you cool with that?
Yeah, sure.
I'll have him send you it.
I lost my train of thought. Anyways.
Waves and perms.
Yeah. Now I feel like I'm on the spot. I'm really gonna look like I'm in a hostage video, right? Like, oh my god. Waves and texturizers. It's super important. So ammonia and thio-free are new buzzwords, but they have always been ammonia and thio-free, oligos perms forever. So Oligo, some of you may know, some of you may not know, started as a company that produced products for other brands. They have been around a long time. These were super popular. This is what got Oligo started. Okay, so the three sons that run Oligo now, their dad was a chemist. He was not a salesman. He was a scientist in a lab, and he spent the time to really perfect perms of the time, and that technology has been built upon and is still very, very relevant today. So just because ammonia and thio-free have become buzzwords now, they have always been a part of Oligo's history. What does ammonia do in a perm? Does anybody know?
Raises the pH.
Opens up the cuticle, raises the pH. What happens when you blow the cuticle or raise the pH so high?
You get breakage.
Right? How often do you get that cuticle to close back? You lose your porosity. You can create breakage. All of those things. So ammonia was used by other companies, not Oligo, in perms so that they worked faster, so that they opened and swelled the cuticle layer quicker. But there are a lot of other products and ways to do that. Ammonia is still acceptable in perms. Thio has been banned in Canada, in Europe, pretty much everywhere but here. So, just recently, thio perms went completely off the market in a lot of other countries, and they literally took them off the shelves.
That
Like they were
explains a
sitting
lot
on
of
the
things
shelf,
that's been happening.
Yeah, we
and they
have
were
a lot
off.
of problems with trust, right?
All the trusses.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hit Tressa hard, it hit ISO hard. Because thio in these perms, well, they make perms and they distribute them everywhere. So now these companies have perms that literally can only come here, but it did cause a disruption in distribution of them because thio had to be pulled off the market.
I thought ISO was flat thio free.
I don't know.
Well, I launched them way back in the day. So.
I have no idea, but I can tell you they got
another
pulled
problem.
off the shelves in Canada. Now, they may have different formulas,
Right.
some that have it, some that don't, but they were recently pulled, right? Because thio is out.
So what ingredient opens up the cuticle, please?
It is very similar to MEA. So we
MEA?
use
Okay.
an MEA, a monoethanolamine, to open the cuticle in our color. It is the same thing. It's
Okay.
one thing different. It's an MPA. And I can get you the scientific word for the MPA.
Okay. Thank
Can you go back to the are you going to talk more about them or?
Yes,
Okay.
that was just the
Okay.
intro. So again, our perms are also free from the thioglycolic acid ester, and this was another ingredient that recently got perms pulled from shelves.
Huh.
Okay, so let's talk about perms. Let's talk about perms in general first, or waves and texturizers in general first. You guys are recording this, and I keep saying perms, and that's probably not
Texture.
great. So, waves and texturizers. Let's just start with, when would you use a wave, and when would you use a texturizer? What do they do? What is the difference?
Curl pattern.
What is the difference?
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly enough,
No?
that's not accurate, but is totally what I thought for a very, very long time. Waves are designed to give you a longer lasting effect. They're more commitmental.
They're more what?
Commitmental.
They'll last longer.
They'll last longer.
Thank you.
Texturizers are designed to be less commitmental. They don't last as long, but they essentially do the same thing. What makes up the curl pattern is the size of the rod. So you can use a rod, you could use this cup if you wanted to do a really big, just kind of body type wave, right? You could use that cup. You could use a texturizer and get about 3 months out of it. You could use a wave and get about 3 months out of it. Or you could use a texturizer and get about half of that. But the pattern in the hair is going to look the same. It's just the longevity of the product.
So why would somebody not want it to last 3 months? I mean,
Because some people are scared of commitment.
Or like a teenage boy who wants
Yes,
the perm.
correct.
There are the people that want
Yes.
the texturizer.
Absolutely. So it is a huge thing with teenage boys, baseball in particular,
Yes.
to have no hair on the sides and a big perm in the middle. It is funny and cute and whatever, but they have truly rejuvenated or regenerized perms for younger people. But that's exactly right. So baby mom said you can have it for the summer, but you cannot go to school looking like that. So you would be looking at doing a texturizer as opposed to a wave.
so it's sort of like training wheels.
Training wheels,
Yeah.
yes. It's like the
Get
gateway to
going.
perms.
Yeah, there you go.
So we have a couple of different types of waves. Now, something interesting about perms in general, going back to chemistry, most perms, and you can look at the back of your perms or perm charts and fact check me on this because it's actually true. Most waves and perms are one formula with different processing times. So if you put this perm on and you have white resistant hair, you're going to process it for a long time. If you have highlighted hair, you're going to process it for a short time. They're all in different boxes, but it's all the same formula. Okay? Oligo perms are all different formulas for all of them. There is not the same formula used in any of our perms. They're all completely different. The exothermic perm, or wave, is going to have obviously a higher pH and be used for that white resistant hair. This is kind of what we think of as like a traditional perm, right? But think outside the box on that, right? So you've got somebody who doesn't have color treated hair and they want a body wave and they want it to last the most amount of time that it possibly can be. Because we now know that that curl pattern is determined by what you set the hair on. You could essentially set the hair on a very big roller and use this strength of perm to get the most longevity out of it. Our exothermic wave is self-heating. So what does that do? Just like our hair color that has exothermic technology,
Opens the cuticle.
it opens the cuticle. It heats itself. What does that eliminate?
Ammonia.
I can't do a wave because I don't have a hood dryer.
Yep.
How many times have you heard that?
That's right.
Oh, I'd love to do that, but I can't. I don't have a hood dryer. Guess what? You don't have to have one anymore. So it is self-heating. You still have the same neutralization. A tip on neutralization for hair in Florida. We have tons of mineral, right, in our water. We all know this, gobs of mineral in our water. That affects the neutralization of perms. Sometimes you will need to neutralize twice if there is a lot of mineral buildup. So what does that mean? Somebody comes in, they do their wave, they leave, they call you in 3 days and they say, I smell like a wet dog. My husband said I can't sleep in here anymore. What happened? There was so much mineral buildup in that hair that it did not neutralize properly.
You can recap their neutralizer too and make it
Yes.
last.
Yeah.
A lot of people love that up in Maine.
Yes, so sometimes you do need to neutralize in areas where the mineral is really heavy, twice.
So
To
how would
get
you
that.
do that twice? If,
You just do the steps of neutralization twice, use 2 neutralizers.
And is there enough in there to do that?
There should be, sometimes you have to open a new one depending on the
Keep
depending
the
on the
extra,
person.
that's why you can
Keep
recap
the
it.
extra, that's
That's
what
what
he
you
was,
recap.
Yeah, that's what I was
yeah,
trying to
that's
say.
exactly why he was saying
Mm-hmm.
that if you have somebody with a very small amount of hair and you don't use it all or need it
Okay,
all,
yeah.
cap it, keep it, you can use it on people that have buildup. That's why pre-treatment for perm is really, really important. Getting that hair very, very clean before you ever start, remove all the minerals, all of those things. Our alkaline wave, again, is gonna be for our and fine hair. Notice that this one is not exothermic. It does not self-heat. 2 different formulas, right? And then our acid wave is essentially designed to be used on our color treated hair. All of these can be colored same day.
So
Okay.
the bottom 2 you use under a dryer?
You don't have to, no.
You don't?
But they don't self-generate their own heat.
So
Yeah.
is there a pro or con? I mean, it's the same processing time and everything.
No, so these, so your natural and fine hair
Uh-huh.
does not have that resistant cuticle layer, so you don't need the heat for that.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Your color treated hair, the cuticle is probably already open, so you don't need that.
So I noticed the pH is only like 0.2 points below alkaline. So is that truly in the acidic range for 7.2? It sounds kind of still alkaline.
It is still alkaline. Yeah, anything above
But why do
7.
they call them acidic weight?
Because it's the lowest pH
Oh,
available.
okay.
Okay? So think about somebody who has, color treated hair or highlighted hair. If you have someone with natural texture, oh gosh. If you have, we'll wrap this up. If you have somebody with natural texture and they have highlighted pieces that have essentially been highlighted to nothing and the texture doesn't match anymore, how can you recreate the texture that they were born with on those highlighted pieces to give them that effortless summer hair? Perms can be used in certain areas. You don't have to perm someone's whole entire head every single time. Because people ask all the time, well, why would you do this? Why would you do that bottom one? Well, if somebody wants to wear their hair naturally curly and they've been highlighted to the end of the earth, that hair looks not like the rest of it, right? So that gives you an opportunity to do that.
Spot perm.
Spot perm, correct. Your texturizers are here. Again, look at the pH of these. Look at the pH of this.
Right.
So you can have someone's hair that is so damaged, right? And still be able to preserve and do a texturizer on them. It's not gonna last as long, right? But their hair can't handle as, as much product. So this one was taglined perms, because that's what they were at the time. Perms with the pH of water.
Our extension line promotes OH6.
There you go. Yeah. And it's safe. It's safe to be used because what it is, extension hair, it's been treated, right? It's been treated to preserve it. It's not exactly the same as color, but it has been, treated. And if you are to raise the alkalinity of that hair, it's, very difficult to get it back. So we are at, a texturizer that is the same as water.